Alright, what's going on, guys? So in this video, we're just counting down the top 10 best current defenders in the game as of 2019 January. Now, for this video, instead of in-game clicking on each champion then talking about them, I'm just going to scroll through like pictures of their champion spotlight. Let me know what you guys want me to do in the future, if you like this or the other way better. But yeah, so basically how I made this list, I took a look at who I see getting kills currently, who I think is the most difficult to fight against, and just where certain champs are based on the node placements and where they can really shine, because you know there's champions that are like okay defenders, but on like a certain node they're a star defender, you know. So try to take those things into account. Again, this is going to be my opinion in this video. I'm not saying that this is the best defenders. You got to listen to it. You know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and that's cool. So yeah, let's start this list. Today we're going to be starting out with 3 honorable mentions, 3 champs who just quite don't make the list, but I figured they're worth talking about. So first one up is WASP. So WASP, she's a solid defender. The only problem with her is she's got a very low health pool, and people are learning how to fight her very quickly. You pretty much just got to bait a heavy attack. And yeah, then you can start hitting her, just bait the L1, and she can evade you. So she's kind of simple to learn how to play against. Low health pool can make fights very quick. Corvus is an extremely good counter to her. That's also a factor when deciding who's on the list based on the current meta for the attackers. So yeah, WASP doesn't quite make the list. Next up, who doesn't quite make the list is the champion. I think this guy is a pretty good defender, actually. I've seen him on No 24. I see he really catches people off guard. He can mess people up with his unstoppable timing. But I haven't really seen him get kills. I've seen him like deal damage because, you know, you mess up, he gets some hits in on you. But this guy just hits so weak that even if he hits you, you're not gonna die from a combo from him. It's pretty embarrassing. So yeah, he just doesn't quite make it. But he's also a pretty good boss, one of the better boss node type champions. So he's worth an honorable mention. And the last honorable mention is Emma Frost. It's very interesting, I find, because when she was first announced as a character, KORG made her out to be like the ultimate defender. Like she was going to be like game breaking on defense. When in reality, she's got some inverted controls, and that really messed up everyone at first. But if you just practice it, it's easy. It's honestly, Emma Frost is better unduped as a defender, I would argue, because then the controls are not inverted. Someone in my battle group actually died the last war to an Emma Frost because he didn't know the controls were inverted on the unduped Emma Frost, and it caught him off guard. So yeah, I don't know. I think KORG just kind of over-exaggerated her defensive capacity at the end game in Alliance War. Doesn't quite live up to what they were saying. So let's start off the list now, the real top 10. Coming in at number 10, we have Iron Man Infinity War. So I think Infinity War Iron Man, he was a really good defender early on when he first came out. This was kind of when I wasn't really playing the game, but when I first came back to the game, I heard people talking about how crazy this guy was on defense, and I made it my mission to really learn how to fight against him, because he's kind of made to have a lot of defensive capabilities. I know he's like a Swiss Army knife on offense, but a lot of his abilities are very defensive based. All of his armors and his auto block, his specials, you can't punish them, and overall he's just an overall good defender. But the problem with him is Corvus is just such a hard counter, and Corvus gives him not only 1 charge for being tech, 2 for being an Avenger, and Corvus can even get a 3rd charge off this guy because of his auto block. So that's something you got to consider when you place this guy on defense, that Corvus can run through him. But if someone doesn't bring Corvus against him, I've seen someone last season, we had a really close war against KORG, I believe it was, and or not last season, the season before, and I think they brought a blade against an Infinity Man, and the Infinity Man got a kill. And yeah, if you don't bring the right counter, this guy can be a pain in the butt. I'd say Void and Corvus are some of the best counters, which are very common on Alliance War Attack, and that's why he's sitting up at number 10, unfortunately. So yeah, coming in at number 9, we have Heimdall. So Heimdall, I think he is a very good defender, actually. Very interesting defender. I saw him this last war and I actually timed out against him because he's very bulky. I made the mistake of bringing in Killmonger. Shouldn't have done that at rank 4. It was my mistake. I'm sure it would have been fine if I brought, let's say, Corvus. Yeah, Heimdall, I think he's a great champ. Synergy-wise, of course, but defensively, I think he definitely has a place. He can really mess people up, especially placed on the correct node. I think actually the node that I fought him on, node 28, I believe it is, the debuff immune mini boss. I think that's a pretty good spot for him, actually. If you don't have a good counter, I don't have a magic or a Symbiote Supreme, which I think would be great against him there. Hopefully tomorrow that changes, but yeah. Overall, I think he's a good defender. He can really catch people off guard. If you push him to an L2, it can be lights out. So yeah, I think he's just overall a good defender and can really catch people off guard, especially on the correct node. So coming in at number 8, we have DARKHAWK, a very new champion, and that's one of the reasons why DARKHAWK is higher up on this list, because he is a newer champion, and newer champions typically are better on defense when they first are released, because people don't know how to fight them as well. People had some trouble against this guy in the Uncollected. And as a defender, I've seen him get some kills. I have seen him get some kills. He's not the hardest champion to counter. He makes for a weird fight, first of all, because you can't really use a heavy attack or a special attack, or he goes into his auto block phase where he has a 100% chance to auto block everything, which is crazy. He also has a phase where you can miss on him and a whole bunch of stuff. So just overall a very annoying, pain in the butt defensive champion, especially placed on the correct node. He can really mess people up, especially if someone doesn't really know how to play against him. He's just very easy to make mistakes against, and he can hit quite hard too. So yeah, DARKHAWK, definitely good, great defender, man. If I pull him tomorrow in my opening, I might rank 5 him, mainly for the defensive potential, but he's also good as an attacker. So coming up next on the list is number 7. We have Killmonger. Now, Killmonger, overall, I'd say he's a solid defender. You know, he's good on a couple of nodes. But what really makes him so good is putting him on node 29 or something similar to that. But especially node 29. Node 29 Killmonger, I'm sure you've heard of that. It's regarded as one of the hardest fights in the war map, just because his abilities work so well on that node. Putting debuffs on Killmonger, he gets like a little bit of power from them, and on node 29, every time the defender goes over a bar of threshold bar, they get like more stuff added on, crit resistance, all this stuff. So he makes for a really crazy fight there, and yeah, that's if he was like that on every node, you know, he'd probably be number 1. But he really shines on that node, and that's why I can't quite put him at the he doesn't quite make it in the top 5, but he's definitely a really good defender, especially on that node. Like if we're talking node 29 placements, he'd be probably number 1 on the list. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, overall a good defender still nonetheless. And coming in at number 6, we actually have the newest champion, Thing. So this guy, man, he's very, very new. I've already seen screenshots of him getting some kills on defense, and again, that could just be because he's new. But I think he's going to be overall a pretty good defender, even once he's not new anymore. On all or nothing nodes, I feel like he could be extremely good, and I just feel like he has so much defensive potential actually now. If you don't bring in the right champion, you're going to be very easy to get screwed. So yeah, Thing, I really look forward to seeing what he can do on defense. I kind of wanted to go for him, but I'm just not able to right now. So yeah, coming in at number 5, we actually have an OG champ here, Dormammu. I think he's the first Mystic champ on the list, because Mystic champions have really, if you guys have been playing the game for a couple of years, you'll know that Alliance Wars defenders used to be pretty much all Mystic. It was called Mystic Wars. That's because Mystic Dispersion was so prevalent. Basically, when you dexed, you fed the opponent power. Now, with the change to Mystic Dispersion and Dexterity, Mystic Champs aren't really that annoying on defense. There's still some. M.O.D.O.K, he doesn't make this list at all, but he can be a pain on the right node as well. But really, the only Mystic Champion that still is a pain in the butt is Dormammu. And on the right nodes, I still see Dormammu causing mayhem. I've been watching Idolist Alliance War videos, and he's been fighting Dormammu's a couple of times. Don't mean 3 under the bus here, man, but he's been having some trouble, and it's just very easy to slip up against Dormammu. He also is a very big character model, very annoying to fight against. If he doesn't want to throw his specials, if he's just not cooperating with you, you get the degen on yourself. It's on the right node, like the power shield node, he can really be a threat, and it's just that degen in a combination with his animations and just yeah, he's just annoying. Dormammu, man, he's still with Mystic Dispersion as well. If they have Mystic Dispersion, like dexterity will still feed into it. If they have 5 out of 5, then he's still getting power. Like, he's still a great defender, man. Still definitely a great defender. Coming in at number 4 on the list, we have M.O.D.O.K. So M.O.D.O.K, he's an OG defender, man. He was the only Science Champion to come out in 2017, I think it was. The only Science Champion to come out that year. And yeah, man, I think M.O.D.O.K just gets overlooked, first of all, on offense. But still on defense, I think he's still a great defender. Put him on the Aggressive Fury node. He can trip people up there on the Bane node. He can trip people up there on the Biohazard node. I think I have him on Biohazard this war. That should be an interesting one with Omega Red. But yeah, I think M.O.D.O.K is just a great defender. It can be super annoying. Really, also, again, a big character model. Can be kind of weird to play against. Just a big fat head. Yeah, I just think he's a great defender and very easy to make mistakes on the L1. It's like you think you always got the timing, but then sometimes you just mess it up and it can do some crazy damage to you. M.O.D.O.K just, yeah, I still think he's just a really good defender. Coming in at number 3 on the list, we have Medusa. A pain in the butt, Medusa is what she is. The auto block when she you gotta be so careful when she has the living strands up, because her auto block can parry you, unlike M.O.D.O.K's. If M.O.D.O.K's auto block could parry you, he would be higher on the list for sure. But yeah, Medusa's can, and you really got to work on playing around that. And more counters are coming out for Medusa, but she's still be a pain in the butt. One little mistake, you're hitting her. She's got 2 Furies. You think you got time. All of a sudden, the 3rd Fury procs. You get the 2nd hit. Boom, you're stunned. Boom, she drops an L2, you're dead. If you're not dead, you're stunned longer, and then you're dead. It's just very easy to slip against Medusa, get locked in the corner, and yeah, on the right node, like the debuff immune mini boss, I've died to her before there. And once you get the dismay on you, that's you getting degen, you're trapped against the wall. It's a very bad time. And Medusa, it's pretty hard too. So yeah, the number 3 defender there. Coming in at number 2. These are the top 2 now. Domino. So Domino, she comes in at number 2 because, first of all, at Sig 200, 565, that damage on her Awakened ability, the critical failure, is it critical failure damage? But basically, every time you get an ability that fails or something, she's doing direct damage to you, and it is just a crazy amount at a high Sig. Your health starts draining you dexterity, and you can take damage. It's crazy fighting Dominoes on mini bosses when they're max Sig. It can just do a crap ton of damage to you. You really need to take a tech against Domino most times so that you can't get unlucky. Because you can get unlucky. Let's say if I'm using Corvus, I get unlucky. She throws her L1. I try to evade it. Oh, my dexterity failed. That L1 to the face. Yeah, I'm dead. It's crazy, man. Domino can just... The thing is with Domino is she can just get so lucky, not only in the sense of in the game proccing lucky, but in the sense of just not throwing her specials. So much can happen in a Domino fight that sometimes it can just be out of your control. She also has evades when she's lucky, which can be annoying. A fight with her, you don't know what can happen, and sometimes you can just get extremely unlucky. If you're fighting on the all or nothing node, let's say with an OG Vision, your power drains could just fail. It's one of those fights, man. It could go either way. Sometimes it's out of control, out of your control as a player, and really that's why she makes the list for those instances. It's crazy. Now, coming in at number 1, I'm sure everyone knows who number 1 on the list is, but that's KORG, man. KORG, he's just an insane defender, man. He is the best defender in the game. If you take in the right counters, and you practice, it can be an easy fight. I don't have any problems with KORG personally. When I bring in Omega Red on pretty much any node except for 29, I can handle a 565 KORG with Omega perfectly fine. But the problem is, if you get caught off guard by a KORG, which has happened to me before, I brought Spidey in, and it was a KORG, and it can be a sketchy fight. First of all, if you don't bring the right counter, it's also just very easy to slip up against him. He can proc unblockable and unstoppable off your dexterity, and then you can just miss a dex, and he's unblockable, man. If you try to block, he's breaking right through it. Stuff can just really go wrong in the KORG fight. The L1 is pretty hard to evade. I still can't. If I practice more, I'm sure I could. But it's hard to really get down. You gotta do a lot of duels, practice it, so you can really 100% get that down every time. So it's very easy to slip up on that, and if it's unblockable, you gotta evade it. Which, if he only has 2 crowd excitements, which he gets, I believe it's 3 crowd excitements for every dexterity. So, yeah, and the block damage can really just add up if you're not trying to dex. It can be really crazy. And on the right nodes, KORG gets a ton of kills, man. I've seen him almost roadblock alliances before, and yeah, it's just KORG. He's by far the best defender in the game right now. I personally believe he was really just made to be a defensive monster. You can just tell if you read his abilities. No one talks about KORG on offense because he doesn't really have potential for offense. It's just all defensive monsterness. Like, this guy is just made to be a defender. He has thorns built in on him, so at Sig 200 as a 565, your medium attacks are doing about like 2,000 damage to yourself, something crazy like that. You're just hitting away your own health. It's insane. I really don't want to see this guy as a maxed out 6-star or a rank 3 6-star at Sig 200. Oh my god, you're going to hit him 5 times. If you trigger that thorns, you're going to be dead. It's going to be ridiculous. This guy is going to scale insanely as a defender, as a 6-star. But yeah, no more rambling on, guys. That's going to do it for this list. The top 10 best defenders of 2019. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the list. If you agree, if you disagree. Who do you find to be the most annoying defender to fight against? For me, it's probably Medusa, but yeah, or maybe I'd say the Thing, because he's so new and I haven't fought him in war. I hope I don't fight him in war soon. I need to practice against that guy. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on the list. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. And yeah, any more video ideas, put them down in the comments below. I appreciate them. Thanks for watching. Peace.